You're tuned in to the American Journal with your host, Harrison Smith.
Welcome back, folks. We'll go out to your phone calls momentarily. Quick little note here. I don't know. It's just embarrassing, really, how desperate normal people are in this country for just someone not to openly despise them. And we've talked about this before with Elon Musk, because while we like Elon Musk and the things that he says and the way he seems to actually be a champion of free speech and how he's using his wealth to seemingly put these ideas forward and combat the far leftist control of big tech companies, it's always been a little bit hesitant, right? We talked about the way he takes money from the government to make Tesla profitable and the way he's working on Neuralink and seems to actually be into a lot of this stuff, and the way he insists that space is real despite us knowing better than that, right? So it's always been, but it's like we're just so desperate for people who aren't just openly, someone that doesn't openly despise us. And just if someone's like, yeah, I kind of like free speech, rather than just like, we will silence you immediately. How dare you try to speak up against us? We're just like, we'll just throw ourselves at their feet. And really, it's a lesson of, I guess it's a lesson of how powerful our enemies are, that like all of these billionaires know they could literally be worshipped as gods if they just come out in opposition to the other billionaires. They just come out and go, actually, I think people can choose for themselves whether they get the vaccine or not. We would just be like, you're the best in the world. Like, we're just so hungry for something like that. And yet they don't take advantage of that. They don't actually do that because they know that the forces that they'll face in the opposite direction are ruthless bastards with unending supplies and reserves of mind-controlled masses. So they just, they'd rather not be a champion for the downtrodden. They'd rather just continue to make money in their little scheme. Anyway, we don't need to get too much into this, but on Halloween, Elon Musk was posting pictures of himself with his mom and somebody, and he's wearing a suit of armor. And I kind of ignored it at the time because I assumed it was from that new Game of Thrones show that I don't watch. So I just assumed it was from that. But apparently it's not from that. Apparently it's not a suit of armor from any show. In fact, somebody tracked down where Elon Musk bought this suit of armor, and it's actually a suit of armor called something like the Champion of Satan armor. And you can actually see that on the breastplate and the gauntlets of this armor set, there is a ram's head pentagram symbol with an upside down cross. And, you know, sometimes people who are into conspiracy theories like look into stuff where there's really nothing to look into. You know, some person, George W. Bush goes to UT and does the UT hand signal, and people are like, that's the symbol of the devil. And it's like, yeah, maybe, but there's actually a reasonable explanation to this. But Elon Musk is somebody who is very aware of the symbols that he is putting out there. He's very aware and like very purposeful in the symbolism that he uses and knowing that people are going to read into it. So it's a little suspicious to me that he would wear a suit of armor called the Champion of Satan that has satanic images all over it, and makes me think that maybe this really is a long con. Maybe this really is just a complete, Antichrist maneuver. I don't know, but very bizarre. And now, as of yesterday, Elon Musk tweets this out: talked to civil society leaders at Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL, Yale Eisenstadt, Rasha Robinson, Jay Go for Justice, Norman L. Shin, Derek NCAACP, the Bush Center, Ken Hirsch, and Cindy Benavides, about how Twitter will continue to combat hate and harassment and enforce election integrity policies. Is he backtracking? Is he just throwing a little bit of meat to the leftists to make them think that they're going for them? I don't know, but you got to realize it's all just a con. It's all just a play they're putting on. Jonathan Greenblatt of the ADL, the Bush Center, and the NAACP, these are the leaders of civil society. No, these are the control freaks that have been placed in a position of power by more powerful people than them to carry out their orders. The ADL. I mean, they already have like veto power over anything anybody says on the internet. They're also working hand in hand with the FBI to provide them list of the ADL's enemies to investigate and go after. This is just a de facto like Jewish supremacist organization that just runs our country. It's just like, okay, great, Elon. You're cooperating with them, are you? I mean, you really have to be able to see this in exactly the same light as if he was like, I met today with civil society leaders at the KKK and at the neo-Nazi organization. And it's just like, these are not the leaders of civil society, but they've put themselves in this position, even though they are hate groups themselves. They just have the civilizational, power to appoint themselves as unelected speakers of the people. Nobody wants them. Nobody asked for them, but we can't get rid of them for some reason. He's talking about letting people back on Twitter for being deplatformed, but he says we need at least a few more weeks till we have a clear process. But I'm trusting Elon less and less as the days go by.